And he starts the fourth section of the second chapter with this. הגמול המקווה לנו מהעלות הדברים על הספר, כי בעלותנו את הגנות על הספר, באים הדברים הלוהטים והמטפחים על פנינו להכיר את הגנות של ביטחון מזויף. ואם אמנם שלילת הביטחון מחסור בנפש המשכלת, וכמעט שאין לו חלק בעיקרי היהדות, אך כל ימר מזה ביטחון המזויף, ובהיות הזיוף שלילה מוחלטת ואין לזייפן מותר על המשולל, הרבה מן השערורייה וההרס בבוטח הזייפני, אשר המשולל נקי מהם, כי המשולל משולל מן הביטחון והזייפני משולל מביטחון ומחויב בזיוף. המשולל לא ימשיך אחריו חניכים לחנכם בתורת הביטחון, והזייפן מעמיד תלמידים חניכי הזיוף, והמשולל יגרום עוון חילול השם רחמנא ליצלן, אבל הזייפן כאשר מתגלה קלונו ומתפרסם עלילותיו המתועבות נגד שמעון רעהו, אומרים פלוני שלמד מוסר, כמה מגונים מעשיו וכמה מכוערים תחבולותיו. Translation: The reward we hope to gain from mentioning these points, that by recording these negative aspects in all of their severity, we are forced to recognize the wrongness of false bitachon, false trust. Meaning, when a person believes that he actually has bitachon in Hashem, that he trusts in Hashem, but in reality he does not. So here the Chazon Ish gives us somewhat of a chidush for this generation, although it was very simple in the previous generations where people simply wanted the emet. In this politically correct generation, it is perhaps one of the most insightful comments we've seen today from the Chazon Ish. Because today it is very difficult to find speakers, whether religious or non-religious, that are willing to call out somebody else for being a faker. Now, of course, Donald Trump made big headlines over the last few years by coining the term, if you will, fake news, and everybody from now on always says fake news to everything, even if it's real news, and if it's fake, it's real, and if it's real, if it's fake. No, this is not what I mean. What I'm talking about is that the Chazon Ish is telling us one of the most important tasks that we have in learning about bitachon, in learning about how to develop a real relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is first and foremost identify the severity and the danger of actually living a complete life, either listening or even being the person that has fake bitachon. Not having bitachon. That he didn't mention yet. He's talking about it's dangerous, critically dangerous, to be a person that has fake bitachon. Now surely, maybe he's talking about us as individuals. Maybe he's talking about speakers. Who is he really talking about? And how come he didn't mention not having bitachon? Because until now we thought, oh wait, to have bitachon, to have emunah in Hashem, to have bitachon, all of these things, it's either you have it or you don't have it. Sometimes I talk to people and I say, yeah, listen, Rabbi, I don't have bitachon like you. I don't have emunah like you. What do you mean you don't have? How do you not have? You have something. You have to have something. You live, you get up in the morning, you decide to go to work, you do some things. Maybe you have less, maybe you have more, but the point is you have to have something. As we even said in the previous chapters by the Chazon Ish, he said that even the ones that have little bitachon, they still have something to build on. So here he's not mentioning somebody that doesn't have. He's talking specifically about a zayfan, a faker. Someone that has fake bitachon, and he emphasizes the fact that we have to recognize how wrong it is to have false bitachon, and more importantly, how dangerous it is, how severe it is to have fake bitachon. Now, is he talking about us as individuals, or is he talking about our teachers, who we decide to learn from? Surely, it's most likely both. But here, he's going to tell us exactly what he means. Lack of trust in Hashem, meaning not having enough bitachon in Hashem. This is the part he hasn't talked about until now. Lack of trust in Hashem is a fault in any thinking person. If a person doesn't have bitachon, in so many words, obviously it's a flaw. It's a flaw in his makeup. It's a flaw in his character traits. He needs to work on it. Not having bitachon is atrocious. But a person who lacks this trust comes close to having no part in the basic tenets of Judaism. He says this person that doesn't have bitachon in Hashem is almost completely removed from the foundation of Judaism. This, Rabotai, is a chidush to most people. Why? Because most people think that having bitachon is like something that you should aspire to have. One day when I grow up and I read 1.5 million books, I'll have bitachon. Chazon Ish says otherwise. So long as you don't have bitachon, we're not talking about the faker yet, that we talked about initially. Here he's veering off a little bit. We're talking about now the guy that doesn't have bitachon or lacks it. He has some, but not enough. He says, so long as you're lacking bitachon, you're at a point of such critical danger that you almost have no connection to Judaism. Now, if this doesn't shake a person up, nothing else will. They have to check their pulse. Why? Because the reality is, most of the time that you deal with people and you see that there is trouble in the communication, perhaps there is miscommunication or intentional miscommunication, cheating, lying, all of these things, these are all connected to bitachon. The guy only cheated the other guy because he didn't trust the fact that Hashem will give him enough parnasah without cheating. Simple. The guy lied to the girl about how much he has or how much he thinks he has because he didn't think that Hashem will make her like him just for what he has. The girl didn't believe that the guy's going to like her if he knew everything that is really true about her. So she lied a bunch of things about her. She told him she's this, she told him she's that, but in reality, she's nothing like what she said. Why? She didn't have enough trust in Hashem. So most of the lying, cheating, miscommunication that's intentional, generally speaking, is as a result of lack of bitachon, lack of trust in Hashem. Most of the time people will lie on their resume because they don't trust that Hashem will get them the job with the truth. And you see this many times. I see people, unfortunately, tell me all types of horrible stories that usually people come to me with the most spicy ones. They don't tell me what their friends did to them and what their other people did. What they usually tell me is what people that are supposed to be the opposite, usually rabbis. Rabbi did this to me, the rabbi did that to me, the rabbi, signed a contract with me to make him videos, to handle his YouTube page, to handle this, to handle that. I told him, okay, I'll do it. I did the whole job. I came to the rabbi, I said, new rabbi, okay, I did the job. You like it? Yeah, it's okay. All right, so can I have my money? Oh, I didn't know you need to get paid. What, you meant to get paid? Yeah, didn't we agree? You told me you're going to pay me $5,000 if I do this, this, and that. I don't know. I thought it's worth $5,000. All of a sudden, the rabbi starts stuttering. Oh, I thought it's worth. I think it's worth. Just today, I got another story. Some young guy did some work for some rabbi and finished the work. The rabbi says, "Listen, I don't think we're getting enough views on the work that you did, so I'm not going to pay you the full amount." Who said anything about views? You told me to do work. I did the work. How come you're not paying me? Now you may think, oh, this rabbi is garbage. We should expose him. He's the worst. Not this and not that. This all has to do with lack of bitachon in Hashem. All of it, foundation, has to do with lack of bitachon in Hashem. First and foremost, a person that does not have bitachon in Hashem thinks that whatever money that he has in his pocket is the last money he's ever going to get from Hashem. So he's very careful with where he spends it, even though he makes empty promises saying, listen, I'll buy this, I'll buy this, I'll buy this. He buys with his mouth, but not with his actual pocket. As soon as the transaction comes, all of a sudden, I'll pay you in 90 days. What do you mean 90 days? If I knew you're going to pay me in 90 days, I wouldn't have delivered the goods that quickly. All of a sudden it's 90 days. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, you didn't know, he didn't know. All of a sudden, nobody knows. When it comes to the money, nobody knows. And that's the problem. When it comes to business, people lack bitachon, and therefore they resort to cheating. They resort to intentional miscommunication. This constantly happens. The guy has a contract. He wants the guy to to fix his house. They sign a deal. Okay, I'm going to do this, this, and this. Okay, I'll price it at $100,000. As the job goes, 2, 3, 4 weeks into it, after he's already demolished half the house, he tells the guy, listen, I'm sorry, senor, but it's going to cost you $150,000. What do you mean 150? That's a 50% increase. What do you mean? You should have told me in the beginning. The reality, I didn't know. You think he really didn't know? Anyone that believes the guy didn't know deserves to be scammed. Why? Because that means you're so naive. You actually believe the guy that works on houses all day, builds stuff all day, didn't know it's going to cost 50% more. We're not talking about 5, 10%. 50% more. You think he didn't know? Of course he knew. But he did not have the confidence that he's going to get the contract had he told the client the real price. No confidence in Hashem. Same goes when people hire people. They tell people, listen, we're going to give you a promotion, we're going to do a lot of things, so on and so forth. The guy's working for him for a year, 2 years, 3 years, no promotion, no bupkis. He asks for sick days, he doesn't even get them. Hey boss, you said I was going to be able to get all these different things. No, I don't remember. I'm sorry, this is not the type of company that gives vacation. We need you here. What do you mean you don't remember? We had a whole dinner about it. You interviewed me for 2 weeks, taking me from the other company where I had 3 weeks vacation every month, and this and that. My whole life was a vacation. You told me I'd come in and have even a better life. Oh, I don't remember. Now, anybody that believes this boss doesn't remember deserves to be that employee. Why? You're so naive, you actually think he doesn't remember that he gave you such a deal? But he took advantage of the fact that you trusted his word and didn't sign this on a contract. Contracts are not for when you get along. Contracts are for when you're not going to get along. Why? At some point it's going to happen. At some point you're not going to get along. Unfortunately, in the secular world, they have something called prenuptial agreement. Most people, unless they're extremely rich, think it's completely ridiculous to have prenuptial agreement. Aside from the fact, our opinion in Judaism is, there's no nonsense, it's complete nonsense to have prenuptial agreements if you're both starting from nothing. But if one person is starting with a lot of money and the other person perhaps only has maybe a dog, yeah, maybe you want to consider it because perhaps he is or she is going into this marriage with a little bit of an evil inclination because they like the money. So you want to protect yourself. But nonetheless, you don't have an obligation to. The point is, the prenuptial agreement, the contract you sign with your employer, the contract you sign sometimes with a client, is not for today where you're excited about each other and you want to hug each other and you can't wait to get married and you can't wait to do all these wonderful... No, the contract is for when you're not going to get along. Oh, no, we love each other forever. Doesn't work that way. Why? At some point, he's going to tell you the truth, she's going to tell you the truth, and you're going to realize, the truth of today and the truth of yesterday are two different truths. How come they didn't tell you the truth in the beginning? It's not that they're compulsive liars. It's that they don't have bitachon, that you'll buy into this relationship had they told you the truth. This, Rabotai Karim, is the root of all evil. All evil starts with a lack of bitachon, where people have no confidence whatsoever that if they tell you the truth, you'll buy into it. Salesmen today, by default, lie to their customers on a regular basis, to the point where they start believing their lies. As I've told you many stories over the years. Salesmen today are compulsive liars, not because they like to lie, but they feel the need to lie. They lie to you about how good they are. They lie to you about who their customers are. They lie to you about their history. They tell you all types of things. Trust me, I was in sales for 20 years. Baruch Hashem, I wasn't a big liar or anything. But one thing I do know, salesmen in general have deteriorated over the years. Deteriorated tremendously. Why? We no longer have any bitachon whatsoever in Hashem. We just think our skills are what's going to help us. But since in the beginning we don't really have many skills or much to write home about, we lie about it. In essence, predicting the future that we think is going to happen. The point is, Abutai, is that all of this miscommunication happens as a result of lack of trust in Hashem and too much trust in ourselves. And when we don't have anything to really trust in ourselves, and we lack trust in Hashem, we default with lying. We default with lying. Now, this, Rabotai, this lack of bitachon is not just a bad thing. What the Chazon Ish is telling us, in essence enlightening us with, is telling us that if, or so long as you lack bitachon, this person is close to having no part in the basic foundation of Judaism. En lo chelek b'ikarei hayadut. The foundation of Judaism relies on bitachon. That's our foundation. If we don't have bitachon in Hashem, there is no Judaism. You just look at our history. You look at what happened to us a couple of thousand years ago during the holiday that's coming up. You have Chanukah. The whole holidays is built on bitachon. Bitachon of who? 5 people. In reality, started with one. One old man, old religious man, saw that all of his fellow Jews either wanted to become Greeks, became Greeks, or just stayed there in the background quiet. No one was fighting for the sake of Hashem. Some of them became Greeks, mityavnim. Some of them wanted to become Greeks, they were just waiting for their turn to come up. And some of them were just sitting there like a lot of people today when they see a bunch of secular people not keeping Shabbat, they don't say a single thing. Oh yeah, he probably doesn't want to keep Shabbat, is their mentality. Yeah, he probably doesn't want to do it. Yeah, he probably hates God. He's probably like a anti-God. How do you know he's anti-God? You haven't heard a word from the guy. Yeah, just look at how he dresses. So what? Look at how he dresses. Just because he dresses that way, you think he's anti-God? That's the problem. Not enough people care enough to check, and therefore they just think, if they wanted God, they'd find him on their own. No, Habibi. If you're a Jew, you have an obligation. You have an obligation to go help him. Go help him. He's part of your community. He's your next door neighbor. He's in your class. He's in your neighborhood. He's something. Go tell him something. Invite him for Shabbat. Invite him to shul. Give him a CD. Do something, Ribono Shel Olam. You see him every day. But that's the problem. Many times people are nonchalant or simply don't want to. Don't want to. Why? They don't have the bitachon that they'll be effective. Oh, I was going to tell him something, but then I didn't know if he's going to listen to me. So I don't know, I thought about it. By the time I figured out what I was going to do, he already left. This is why I always tell you, you should always have at least 1 or 2 of our CDs in your pocket, in your purse. That way, you don't have to reserve to saying anything. In fact, it's better you don't. All you got to do is say, here's a CD, here's a USB. Listen to this, it's interesting. That does the job for you. No matter how he dresses or she dresses, you give them a CD, they'll be interested. What did they just give me? If they listen to it or don't listen to it, not necessarily so much your business. The result is not in your hands. The effort is. I always tell people, have some CDs in your pocket. You go to the website, you order a few, and you have some CDs. But the problem is that people say, yeah, you know what, if I see I'm going to need it, then I'm going to order it. Yeah, if you need it, it's already too late.